Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Nighttime Mics. I'm Sarah, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend Mike. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, Sarah, I'm doing great. Honestly, I'm feeling really energized today because we are talking about one of my favorite things in the entire world, traveling. Specifically, how on earth do we actually choose where to go?
Oh, I know, right? It sounds like the fun part, but sometimes it's actually the hardest part. There are so many amazing places in the world, and every time I open Instagram or TikTok, I see a new beach or a hidden city, and I think, I need to go there.
Exactly. It's what people call the paradox of choice. When you have too many options, you end up feeling overwhelmed and you can't make a decision. I've spent hours, literally hours, just staring at a map of Europe or Southeast Asia, trying to figure out which country fits my mood.
I've been there. I remember last year I spent 3 weeks trying to decide between Greece and Portugal. I kept switching back and forth every single day. One day I wanted feta cheese and blue water, and the next day I wanted egg tarts and surfing lessons. It's exhausting.
So, how did you finally decide? Did you flip a coin?
Almost. I actually had to sit down and think about what I really wanted from the trip. Was I looking for adventure, or did I just want to lie down and forget that my laptop exists? That's usually the first big question, isn't it? The vibe of the trip.
Totally. I think that's the best place to start. You have to ask yourself, what is the goal? For me, sometimes I want to go somewhere like Tokyo, where it's busy, loud, and there's something to see every second. But other times, I just want to go to a small cabin in the mountains and listen to the birds. If you don't figure out the vibe first, you might end up in a city when you actually needed a nap.
That's a great point. I think a lot of people make the mistake of picking a destination because it looks cool, but then they realize it doesn't match their energy level. For example, if you are really tired from work, maybe a 3-day hiking trip in the Alps isn't the best idea, even if the photos look incredible.
Oh, definitely. I made that mistake once. I went to New York City right after a really stressful project at my old job. I thought the energy of the city would wake me up, but I ended up just feeling more stressed because everything was so fast. I should have gone to a quiet beach in Mexico instead.
No way. New York is definitely not the place to go for peace and quiet. But that brings up another huge factor, doesn't it? The budget. We can dream about the Maldives or Swiss chalets all we want, but we have to be realistic about our wallets.
Ugh, the budget, the ultimate dream killer. But seriously, it's so important. I used to be really bad at this. I would just pick a place and then try to make the money work later. That is a terrible way to do it. Now I try to look at the cost of living for a tourist in that country before I book anything.
That's smart. I use a few websites that show you the average price of a meal or a cup of coffee in different cities. It's a lifesaver because the flight might be cheap, but if a sandwich costs $20 when you get there, you're going to run out of money pretty fast.
Exactly. I call those hidden costs. You think you found a bargain because the airline ticket was only $50, but then you realize the airport is 2 hours away from the city and the taxi costs more than the flight.
I've fallen for that trap so many times. It's all part of the learning process, I guess. But speaking of budget, do you think it's better to save up for one big, expensive bucket list trip a year, or take 3 or 4 smaller, cheaper trips?
That's a tough one. I think I'm a multiple small trips kind of person. I love having something to look forward to every few months. If I only have one big trip in December, the rest of the year feels so long. What about you?
I think I'm the opposite. I love the feeling of a grand adventure. I like to save up all my vacation days and go somewhere far away for 2 or 3 weeks. I feel like it takes me a few days just to stop thinking about work, so a short weekend trip doesn't always feel like enough time to truly relax.
That's fair enough. It's interesting how different everyone is. Some people want to see 10 cities in 10 days, and others want to stay in one Airbnb for 2 weeks and learn the name of the local baker.
I'm definitely the one Airbnb person. I love feeling like a local. But let's talk about how we actually find these places. Where do you go for inspiration? Are you a social media scroller, or do you prefer old school guidebooks?
Honestly, it's a mix. I do follow a lot of travel bloggers on Instagram, but I try to be careful. You know how it is. Everything looks perfect with a filter. You see a photo of a beautiful fountain in Rome and it looks so peaceful. But when you get there, there are 5,000 people trying to take the same photo and someone is stepping on your foot.
Oh, I know, right? The Instagram versus reality thing is very real. I actually prefer watching YouTube vlogs now. I feel like you get a better sense of the atmosphere. You can hear the noise of the streets and see what the weather is actually like.
That's a good tip. I also like to use Google Maps, not for directions, but just to walk around the streets virtually using Street View. It sounds a bit nerdy, but if the streets look charming and there are lots of little cafes, I'm usually sold.
That's not nerdy at all. It's research. I do something similar with menus. If I'm thinking about a city, I'll look up a few restaurants and see if I like the food. If I can't find any good vegetarian options, for example, I might change my mind about going there.
Food is such a huge part of it. I think I've chosen at least 3 destinations just because I saw a video of a specific dish. I went to Vietnam mainly because I wanted to eat authentic pho every single morning. Best decision of my life.
See, that's a perfect reason. If the food is good, the trip is a success, even if it rains the whole time. Which, by the way, is another thing we have to talk about, the weather. Do you check the weather patterns before you book?
I try to, but I've been unlucky. Once I went to Thailand in what I thought was the shoulder season, that time between the busy season and the rainy season. Well, Mother Nature had other plans. It rained so hard the streets turned into rivers. I spent most of the trip sitting in a cafe watching the rain.
Oh no, that sounds disappointing. But hey, at least you had an excuse to drink a lot of Thai tea.
Exactly. You have to look on the bright side. But it did teach me to really check the best time to visit sections of travel blogs. Sometimes a cheap flight is cheap for a reason, like it's hurricane season or it's going to be 45 degrees Celsius and you can't leave your hotel room.
That's so true. I have a friend who went to Dubai in August because the hotels were so cheap. She said she couldn't even walk to the beach because the sand would literally burn her feet. She spent the whole time in the mall.
That sounds like a nightmare. I mean, I love a good mall, but not for a whole vacation. So we've got the vibe, the budget, the food, and the weather. What about the people you're traveling with? Does that change how you choose a destination?
Oh, 100%. If I'm traveling with my sister, we can go anywhere because we have the same interests. We both love museums and long walks. But if I'm going with a big group of friends, we have to find a middle ground. Some people want to party, some want to sleep in, and some want to see every historical monument. That sounds like a recipe for an argument. How do you figure it out? We usually have a meeting, a very serious travel summit over pizza, and everyone has to come up with one must-have for the trip. Like one person says, I must be near a beach, and another says, I must have a private kitchen. Once we have the list, we look for a place that ticks all the boxes.
That's a really smart way to do it. It stops people from complaining later because they were part of the decision-making process. I usually travel solo, which is much easier in terms of choosing a destination, but it can be a bit lonely when you see something amazing and have no one to turn to and say, wow, look at that.
I've never done a long solo trip. I'm a bit nervous about it, to be honest. I worry I'd get bored, or even worse, I'd get lost and have no one to help me figure out the map.
Oh, getting lost is part of the fun. Well, as long as it's during the day and you're in a safe area. Some of my favorite memories are from when I took a wrong turn and ended up in a beautiful little square or a family-run restaurant that wasn't in any guidebook.
I guess that's true. It's those accidental moments that make traveling special. But for someone like me who likes to plan everything, the idea of getting lost on purpose is a bit scary. I'm the type of person who has a spreadsheet for everything.
A spreadsheet? Sarah, you're killing me. What do you put in a travel spreadsheet?
Everything. Flight times, hotel addresses, the names of museums, and even the estimated walking time between places. It helps me relax because I know I won't forget anything important.
I'm the exact opposite. I usually book my first night in a hotel and then I just see what happens. I like to talk to the locals or other travelers in the hostel and see what they recommend. Often they know about places that aren't on the internet yet.
I really admire that. I wish I could be more spontaneous. I think I'm afraid of missing out on something important if I don't plan it. But I suppose if you're too busy looking at your spreadsheet, you might miss what's right in front of you.
Exactly. It's all about balance. You need enough of a plan so you don't end up sleeping on a park bench, but enough freedom to say, hey, this cafe looks cool, let's sit here for 3 hours.
You're right. Balance is key. So let's say you have a week off work and a decent amount of money saved up. Right now, in this moment, how would you start the process of picking a spot?
Well, first I'd look at the season. Since it's January, I'd probably want somewhere warm, but not too far away. Then I checked my saved folder on Instagram. I have a collection called One Day, where I save cool hotels or landscapes. I'd pick 3 or 4 from that list and check the flight prices.
That's a solid system. I usually start by asking my friends. I'll send a message in our group chat saying, has anyone been anywhere amazing lately? Personal recommendations are always the best because you trust your friend's taste.
That's true. Although I have one friend who's amazing is my terrible. He loves extreme adventure, so he'll recommend a place where you have to climb a mountain just to get to the bathroom. I'm like, no thanks, I'll stick to the city center.
Fair enough. I think I trust your recommendations more than his. But it's funny how a recommendation can change your mind. I was never really interested in visiting Poland, but then a colleague told me about the food and the history in Krakow, and now it's at the top of my list.
Oh, Krakow is incredible. You definitely have to go. See, recommendations work. And that's the beauty of it. Sometimes the best destination is somewhere you hadn't even thought of until someone mentioned it.
It's like the destination chooses you, in a way. You hear about it once, then you see a photo of it, then you meet someone from there. It's like the universe is giving you a hint.
I love that idea. The universe is my travel agent. I should put that on a t-shirt. But seriously, there is something to be said for following the signs. If I see a cheap flight to a city I've never heard of, I sometimes take it just for the mystery.
No way. You'd really go somewhere you know nothing about?
Why not? It's the ultimate adventure. You arrive, you get your bags, you walk out of the airport, and everything is a surprise. It's like being a kid again. You have to figure everything out from scratch. How to use the bus, how to say thank you, what the money looks like. It's a great way to challenge yourself.
That sounds terrifying, but also kind of beautiful. I think I'm too much of a researcher to do that, but I can see the appeal. It definitely stops you from having too many expectations. Sometimes we build a place up so much in our heads that the reality is a bit of a letdown.
Oh, for sure. That's the Paris syndrome, right? Where people go to Paris and they're disappointed because it's a real city with traffic and noise and it's not just a movie set. If you go somewhere with zero expectations, everything is a bonus.
Exactly. I think that's why I enjoyed my trip to Ljubljana so much. I didn't know much about Slovenia before I went, so I was constantly surprised by how green and clean and friendly it was. It exceeded all my expectations because I didn't have many to begin with.
Ljubljana is a hidden gem. I'm telling you, those smaller, less famous cities are often the best. Everyone goes to London, Paris, and Rome, and they are great, don't get me wrong. But there's something special about finding a place that feels a bit more undiscovered.
I agree. Plus, it's usually much cheaper and less crowded. You don't have to wait in line for 3 hours just to see a statue. You can just exist. And I think that's what a lot of us are looking for when we choose a destination, a place where we can just be ourselves without the pressure of being a perfect tourist.
That's deep, Sarah. I like it. A place to be. I think that's a perfect way to put it. Whether it's a busy street in Hanoi or a quiet beach in Portugal, the best destination is the one that makes you feel alive.
Absolutely. And it's okay if you don't get it right every time. Some trips are for learning and some are for resting. Even a bad trip makes for a great story later.
Oh, I have plenty of those. Like the time I ended up staying in a hostel that was actually just a basement with 10 bunk beds and no windows. But let's save that story for another time.
Oh my God, yes. We definitely need a whole episode just for travel disasters.
But for now, I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about. Choosing a destination is a mix of logic and gut feeling.
Definitely. Trust your gut, but also check your bank account. That's my main advice.
Good advice. You know, talking about this is making me really want to open my laptop and start looking at flights right now. I've got that travel bug feeling again.
Me too. I'm already thinking about where to go next. Maybe somewhere with good coffee and a lot of history. Or maybe just somewhere with a really big swimming pool.
Why not both? I'm sure there's a place out there that has a historic swimming pool.
If anyone can find it, it's you and your spreadsheet, Sarah.
Hey, don't knock the spreadsheets until you try them. They are a work of art. But honestly, even with all the planning in the world, the best parts of a trip are always the things you didn't see coming. Like meeting a cool person in a cafe or finding a street performer who plays your favorite song.
I couldn't agree more. Those are the moments you remember years later, not the price of the flight or the name of the hotel, but how you felt in that moment.
Exactly. So for everyone listening, don't be too stressed about making the perfect choice. Just pick a place that speaks to you, do a bit of homework, and then go for it. The world is waiting.
Well said. And hey, if you're stuck, you can always just close your eyes and point at a map. Just make sure you don't point at the middle of the ocean.
Yes, that might be a bit of a wet vacation.
Although I've heard the Pacific is lovely this time of year.
You're ridiculous, Mike. But seriously, it's been so fun chatting about this. I feel like I've already been on a little mini trip just talking to you.
Me too. I'm already thinking about where to go next. Maybe somewhere with good coffee and a lot of history. Or maybe just somewhere with a really big swimming pool.
Why not both? I'm sure there's a place out there that has a historic swimming pool.
If anyone can find it, it's you in your spreadsheet, Sarah.
Hey, don't knock the spreadsheets until you try them. They are a work of art. But honestly, even with all the planning in the world, the best parts of a trip are always the things you didn't see coming. Like meeting a cool person in a cafe or finding a street performer who plays your favorite song.
I couldn't agree more. Those are the moments you remember years later. Not the price of the flight or the name of the hotel, but how you felt in that moment.
Exactly. So for everyone listening, don't be too stressed about making the perfect choice. Just pick a place that speaks to you, do a bit of homework, and then go for it. The world is waiting.
Well said. And hey, if you're stuck, you can always just close your eyes and point at a map. Just make sure you don't point at the middle of the ocean.
Yes, that might be a bit of a wet vacation.
Although I have heard the Pacific is lovely this time of year.
You're ridiculous, Mike. But seriously, it's been so fun chatting about this. I feel like I've already been on a little mini trip just talking to you.
That's the power of travel, isn't it? Even just dreaming about it makes you feel better. It opens up your mind to all the possibilities.
It really does. I think that's why so many people love travel content. It's a form of escapism, but the real thing is always better.
Always. There's no substitute for the smell of a new city or the feeling of landing in a country where you don't speak the language. It's the best kind of scary.
The best kind of scary. I love that. It's that little flutter in your stomach when you're doing something new. We should all try to have that feeling a bit more often.
I agree. So where are you going to look first? Greece? Portugal? Somewhere totally new?
I think I might actually look into that trip to Krakow you mentioned. You've really sold it to me.
Yes, you won't regret it. The main square is beautiful and the atmosphere is it's hard to describe. You'll just have to see it for yourself.
I can't wait. I'm going to go start my spreadsheet right now.
There she goes, back to the rows and columns.
Hey, it's a lifestyle.
Well, I'm going to go look at some pictures of mountains. I think I need some fresh air and a good pair of hiking boots.
That sounds perfect for you, Mike. We really are the planner and the adventurer, aren't we?
It's why we make such a good team on this podcast. We cover all the bases.
We really do. And I hope our listeners feel like they've got a bit of both perspectives now, too. Whether you're a spreadsheet person or a see what happens person, the most important thing is just to get out there.
Definitely. Don't let the planning or the lack of it stop you from seeing the world.
Exactly. Well, I think that's a pretty good place to wrap things up for this part of our chat.
I agree. I'm feeling very inspired. I might even go pack my bag right now, even though I don't have a ticket yet.
Now that might be a bit too spontaneous, even for you.
You're probably right. I'll at least check the weather.
Good call. Anyway, it's been great as always, Mike.
Same here, Sarah. I'm already looking forward to our next deep dive. There's so much more to talk about when it comes to travel.
Oh, definitely. We've barely scratched the surface. We haven't even talked about packing tips or how to deal with jet lag.
Oh man, jet lag, the true enemy of the traveler. We'll definitely have to get into that next time.
For sure. But for now, I think I'll just go dream about those Polish pierogies you mentioned.
They are life-changing, I promise.
I'll take your word for it. Thanks for listening, everyone, and stay tuned for more.
Catch you later.